Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to the halfway point of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series Season 2. Last time out at Spa-Francorchamps, the 7.004 kilometre circuit provided us with our second different winner, as in many races. But we've headed to the suburbs of New York, most notably southwest of the village of Watkins Glen, to the Glen itself for round 3 here on the Assetto Corsa Competizione platform. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, returning to the commentary box, and I'm pleased to welcome alongside me Kelsey Gill. Kelsey, good evening. Good to have you alongside me, but Watkins Glen is going to be a real test for the drivers for this midway point of the season, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Hello, good evening, Alex, and everybody else watching along. Yeah, it's going to be quite the test for all the drivers out there today. It's a circuit that really rewards patience, really rewards that sort of flow as you're going in. There's so many corners that are there to sort of catch you out, and there's a lot of undulation, a lot of cambered corners as well that you've really got to utilise. And I think if the drivers can find the flow today, they can find the lap time, they can find the consistency, and hopefully find some good results in boot.
Yeah, so Watkins Glen inaugurated and opened as a permanent circuit back in 1956, has hosted the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, 6 hours of Watkins Glen, the NASCAR Cup Series, the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and also hosted the United States Grand Prix between 1961 and 1980. The circuit in its current configuration measures just 3.45 miles, 11 turns, with plenty of twists and turns around this particular circuit, as Kelsey was just alluding to very, very early on. There's a lot of high-speed commitment corners, especially going through after this right-hander here at turn 1 that we're seeing Stuart Pryor go through. You can run a little bit wide, go 2 wheels onto the outside curbing, but then the elevation changes increase as they go through turn 2, into the left at 3, and then onto the back stretch through 4, and they have to be very, very careful of the wall on the right-hand side as they go down this back stretch, heading towards the inner loop as we ride on board with the number 63. So Lunatic Prague won the opener at Misano. At Spa-Francorchamps, it was Nicolas Pierrat that took the victory ahead of Lunatic Prague, who really keeps himself in contention at the top of the leaderboard as it stands. It'll be 35 points for a win, 32 for second, 30 for third, 28 for fourth, 26 for fifth, and we go all the way down to 30th. So everyone in that top 30 scores points, and a fastest lap point is also on offer. But the biggest telling point here, Kelsey, I'm going to ask you a question. Which of these cars do you think might be quite suitable around here? I'm thinking the Porsche could be a bit of a dab hand around this this particular circuit here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it certainly seems the popular choice among the drivers as well. I think the Porsche would be a decent shout. I think for myself, possibly the Mercedes. The Mercedes could be very quick around here, but we're not seeing that out on the circuit. So I think, you know, after last week, Dan told me that the Aston Martin's quite an all-around drive. So maybe someone who can really master that car out around this track today could perhaps get that. But the only drivers on that are, of course, Brown and Stuart Pryor, as we watch him come along to, I think he's setting the first lap time is a 1:45.6, and well, top for the moment.
Yeah, Gosselin Werner goes second in the number 33 old school Porsche. There's Kevin Deharcourt, who was second at the season opener at Misano a couple of weeks ago. He's about to cross the stripe in the number 62 Porsche. And what is his lap time going to be? He goes P3 on a 1:46.997. Then we've got Jonathan Schmidt in the 777 Ferrari 296 that goes fourth. So the times are fast coming in. Schmidt's already been bumped down a few positions, make that down to 7th now. As the number 20, well, we've just had Lunatic Braga in the number 48 Lamborghini go top of the timesheets, 1:45.202. Magic Karsiak in the Red 5 Racing number 313 was very much entrenched in a great battle at Misano just a fortnight ago. And the number 54, Adam Brown, in one of 2 Aston Martin V8 Vantages, puts in a lap time, puts in P10, but Pryor currently second, 0.4 of a second off of the provisional pole sitter at the moment, with just 10 minutes to go in qualifying. The likes of Hewlett, Klosowski, Uslan, Karajiak. Karajiak's going to cross the line, goes P3, 1:46.037. For those wondering that are new to the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series, firstly, we have to say a big thank you to Track Titan, who have partnered up and sponsored this second season of the championship. It's a tool that helps analyze drivers' performance with automated insights, and the tool is actually being used this season to help improve the rookie drivers' skills, and they'll also be rewarding them for completing laps in all sessions using the tool provided by Track Titan. So a big thank you to them for coming on board. It's a 15-minute qualifying session followed by a 30-minute race. There is a mandatory fixed refueling time of 25 seconds. So even if you're putting a couple of litres in, as that was Lunatic Braga getting very sideways and clobbering the barriers coming out of turn number 11. Nikita Ronin in the number 15, the 488, comes across the line, currently 8th at the moment. And is now on another out, is going to now go on to another lap and currently sits in P8 for this moment. Klosowski goes up to P9. So at the minute, 12 drivers covered by 4 seconds. There's our race winner from Spa-Francorchamps last time out, who's currently now sitting in, well, that is actually Nicolas Pierre has yet to set a lap time, but he's going to come out of the final corner here at Watkins Glen and go across the line. Goes P3. And the top 3 at the moment, Kelsey, are now separated by just 28 thousandths of a second, as the Aston Martin of Stuart Pryor is on provisional pole by 1/100th.
Yeah, it's incredibly close at the top, and there's Derek Court as well. He's not too far from that top 3 either, just within a tenth of Stuart Pryor, who's currently at the top of the standings. And well, it's almost like last week. We had very close qualifying around Spa, and well, we're going to go again here at Watkins Glen. And who's going to be able to master those times? We've still got plenty of time left to go, and well, here's Schmidt coming round as well. And just to touch on Braga touching the wall, it's going to be something that is very, very detrimental to your lap if you're going to be hitting that wall around there. That is the one thing you don't want to do. If you could get all the rest of the corners, that's fine, but if you smack that wall at the end, you're really going to cost yourself some time. And it's such an easy thing to do, as Schmidt just wrestles the car around there.
Yeah, we do have 3 BMWs on this grid. With Robert Blatcher in the number 2, who has set a lap time is 3.8 seconds off of the pace. And then we've got the number 4 car, that's Craig Hewlett. But the leading car in the BMW stable is Laurent Laferla, who's currently 6th position, as Williams goes up into P7 on a 1 minute 45.840. So the times they are changing. We're past the halfway point of this qualifying session, but you know, we were talking about elevation changes. Now we can talk about camber, as Nicolas Pierre comes out of the final corner. He's hoping to improve on P3 as he's about to go across the line. And, oh, that is a mega lap, 1 minute 44.415. He's put nearly 6.5 tenths between himself and Stuart Pryor in the 63 Aston Martin. That was an epic lap from Pierre.
Yeah, he was absolutely dominant last week in Spa. He came up the top, won it during the race as well. Just was untouchable throughout the whole time, and he's definitely got a lot of time behind that Porsche. And well, it's proving your point that the Porsche is possibly the car to beat out there at the moment. And it's well, he's definitely got a decent handle on all of the corners and the machinery in the number 69 as he comes through. Here's a corner that you really need to sort of be patient on, the outer loop. That one you've really got to be patient with that as you sort of come along and through it. But yeah, what a blistering lap time.
Yeah, Pierre makes his way out of turn 6 at the chute, heading in towards the toe of the boot here at T7. Adverse camber to the right-hand side, 180-degree right-hand hairpin. There's Lunatic Braga, the Austrian, running in a Barwell Motorsport livery on the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo 2. He's now making his way in towards the final part of the circuit, into the left-hander here. And, oh, someone had a bit of a spin just in front of him. But Lunatic Braga is going to come out of the 11th and final corner, run the car wide, and clatters into the wall again. That's the second time in rapid succession. And Lunatic Braga, does he improve? No, he does not. That was a 1 minute 45.222, 2/100ths. And on that pace, he possibly could have gotten past Stuart Pryor to get onto the front row as we head into the final 5 minutes, so the final third of qualifying. Roland Ciclodi in the number 66 Ferrari goes P9 from 11th. and is just over 1.4 seconds behind. That was a 1 minute 45.842. But these times are getting incredibly close to the top 5, covered by exactly 9.5 tenths. As the number 4 Craig Hewlett goes up into P13 in the number 4 BMW. As Derricor, Jonathan Schmidt are in the pit lane. And then we've also got the number 13 of Tomasz Kozlowski, the third of the, or one of the many BMW drivers. We've actually got 4 of them. No, 3 of them. Yeah, 4 of them actually, because we've got Blacher as well. And all 17 drivers have put in a lap at this moment, as the number 54 of Adam Brown is at the bottom end of the timesheets. But you and I both know, Kelsey, that effectively with qualifying, it does not necessarily mean that that's going to be where you finish at the end of a 30-minute race.
No, not at all. And, you know, as they say, there's no points for qualifying. It's what you do on race day that matters, or well, in the race that matters in this case, is that we're not waiting a day to go racing, thankfully. But, yes, it's going to be... I think qualifying is going to be a bit more important around here, though. It strikes me as a circuit that's going to be quite difficult in terms of overtaking, because you're going to be so much on the limit around a lot of the corners, and the walls are ever present around here. There's very little runoff area, so if you make mistakes as well, they're going to be punished, and perhaps those are going to be the opportunities for drivers to make those moves. But I think, all in all, I think there's going to be some difficulty overtaking, especially through some of that technical parts. Once you get through the bus stop and then into sort of the outer loop and all of those sorts of corners within the second and third sectors.
Yeah, one of the other things is that coming out of the final corner, you've really got to put the anchors on in order to get into the pit lane. 50 km/h speed limit. And if you are even 1 km/h over that, either entering or exiting the pit lane, you will be pinged with the stop go 30. It's a system default for anyone, and that is normally very true to GT3 real life racing, that if you speed in the pit lane, you of course get a stop go as a result of it. So if it's a stop go 30, then that is going to compromise someone's race significantly, as we're into the final 2.5 minutes at the moment. Nicolas Pierrat still leading the way, but that monster lap earlier on has really put the wind up the sails of everybody else, as Nikita Ronin in the number 15 Ferrari 488 GT3 makes his way through the 11th and final corner. Let's see what the Conquest Racing car has coming out of turn number 11. Currently sitting in 12th position at the moment. Is it going to be an improvement for Ronin? That's a personal best for the number 15. But unfortunately, no moving forward in terms of positions up the order as we're into the final 2 minutes. It's going to be the opportunity now here, Kelsey, where drivers are going to get their final opportunity. As long as they cross the start-finish line within the final 5 to 15 seconds of this qualifying session to get a final push lap, and that could really decide how the grid is going to form out for the 30-minute race.
Yeah, it certainly could be. Possibly the last person across the line who can sort of set up that amazing lap is going to be the one who ends up in the highest position, perhaps. And well, the track's going to be in its best place. The car's most likely in their best sort of operating window as well in this qualifying. And it'll be those who can make the most of it. Here comes Braga through the final corner. Don't hit that wall this time in his Lamborghini, coming down towards the line. What can he do in that car? Number 4, is it 43 or 63? My
48.
48, there we go. It's a little bit fuzzy for me.
Yeah, but the thing is, he goes P2 and closes that gap to just under 6 tenths. A best effort from the Austrian, a 1 minute 45.012. Still has an opportunity to get this lap in, as long as he doesn't tank slap it like he did a few times that we've seen previously. Nikita Ronin trying to also improve from 12th position, hopefully to get past the likes of maybe Usla and Werner, as the number 15 will get another lap in, but he tags the wall with the left front, bringing out the yellow flag as a direct result. Well, there is a yellow flag going into turn 1. But Ronin does not improve on that lap. That was actually a personal best of 1 minute 46.265. Adrien Usselin in one of the other old school 992 GT3R Porsches. Old school racing had a bit of a disastrous time for quite a few of their drivers going into into the race at Misano, but the checkered is out, so just under 3 minutes to go as Williams goes up. That's the number 26 of Darren Williams that goes up into 6th position on a 1 minute 45.465, just over a second behind Usla, making his way into the final complex here at Watkins Glen. And now into turn number 11. What's the number 9 Porsche got in the tank? Is it going to be an improvement further up the top 10? We're about to find out as the number 1 crosses the line. And that was a best lap time for Ruslan, but remains in 10th and decides to straight line it. I think Nikita Ronin is still circulating, making its way as the number 15 Ferrari 488 GT3 into turn number 8 at the heel of the boot, and goes up the rev range in that 3.9 litre twin turbo V8 mid-mounted rear wheel drive vehicle. Now comes through out of turn 9 and doesn't really have a great time and decides to pull over to the side, and that concludes qualifying. So Nicolas Pierrat takes pole position. Lunatic Braga, who's been consistent all the way through the first 2 rounds of the championship, won at Misano, second last time out. And it's Stuart Pryor in 3rd, followed by Deracourt in the number 62. Magic Karasiak in the 313 will round out the top 5, and alongside him will be Darren Williams in the number 26. Jonathan Schmitz in the number 777 Ferrari will start 7th. Alongside will be the BMW of Laurent Laferla. Then we've got Ciclodi and Uslat rounding out the top 10, covered by just over 1.4 seconds. Follow that up with Werner, Ronin, Hewlett, Kagansky, Klozowski, Blacher, and then Brown. That is your grid for the 30-minute race here for the midpoint of the season here for the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series, season number 2, brought to you in association with TrackTitan.io. 30 minutes await us here, Kelsey, and the run down to turn 1 is important. But not only that, the run out of turn 1 is as equally important, especially when you've got 17 cars running through into T1 and you're hoping that nothing's going to go awry.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's, you've got all these cars going in, you're going side by side as you go along, and, well, you're just hoping that nobody pinches you too much or pushes you off too wide. But I think with the first corner here, it's the best thing to do is try and focus on that exit, because that's what's going to propel you down, up through that high speed section along the track. I mean, it's not about who's the last of the late breakers. It's going to be more about who can focus on the exit of the corner, who's going to come through. But there will be a lot of cars. But I'm sure that these guys will give themselves the space, well, give each other the space that they all deserve. And it's going to be Nicholas and Braga fighting among themselves at the front. I think the two of them leading the way, the top 2 in the championship at the moment, who are, well, they didn't really have much of a chance to scrap around Spa, as Nicholas kind of stretched his legs and went off on his merry way. But I think this time it might be a bit more of a closer fight between the pair of them.
Yeah, so we are just under 30 seconds away from the formation here at Watkins Glen for round 3 of season 2 of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series here at Watkins Glen. A fantastic circuit. It's been around since the mid-1950s, so a lengthy time of operation, over 6 decades. And we are now about to get underway with the formation lap around this 3.45 mile, 11 turn, fast flowing but technical circuit. It is going to be Nicolas Pierrat that will start things off ahead of Lunatic Braga. Follow that up with the number 63, Stuart Pryor, will be joined by the 62 of Kevin Deracourt. Then it's Magic Karasiak, and then Darren Williams, row 3. Jonathan Schmidt and Laurent Laferla, row 4. With completing the top 10, it's going to be Roland Ciclodi and the number 9 car of Adrien Uslat, Gaston Werner and Nikita Ronin, row 6. With Craig Hewlett, we've got Szymon Gagansky, Tomasz Kozlowski, Robert Blacher, and then last but by certainly no means least, Adam Brown. Tyre temperature and brake temperature is always crucial at a particular circuit like this, because the run down to turn 1, Kelsey, is not that long. You've really got to be on point. You've got to make sure that the window for these tyres is in its optimum, and that will give the driver complete confidence to go into turn 1, possibly not steamroll up the inside and cause a multi-car accident, God forbid, because the drivers before tonight have been told off about what happened at Spa in the briefing. So it is about just having a clean start, getting through not just turn 1 and 2, but it's also getting through the opening lap. And this here, the inner loop, is one of the most treacherous parts of the circuit. So you've got 2 real main sort of points on the track where you need to get it right and not slip up.
Yeah, you do, and I was just thinking, who's going to be brave enough to send some moves through that little sector there. I've seen it happen before. It can end in tears, but sometimes it doesn't, and when it doesn't, it really is a spectacle to watch along. And getting the car into the best operating windows is always incredibly important, no matter what race, but especially a track like this. It's one that really demands a lot from the car, demands a lot from the drivers. So it's your time to get yourself into that psychological window, get yourself ready for the race ahead, for the 30 minutes that we are going to have here. And well, it's going to be incredibly important for that. And who will come out on top through turn 1? Will Nicholas defend his position at the moment? Will Braga swoop round the outside as he did towards this early part of the formation lap? Or there won't be any of that ghosting this time, Klosowski. So make sure you remember that going into turn 1. But it's going to be quite the start, I think.
Yep, air temperature 20 degrees Celsius, track temperature 25 degrees Celsius, and as you can see by the server time, just after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So 30-minute race with a 10-minute pit stop window, mandatory refueling time of 25 seconds. Tyres are not a mandatory requirement, but refueling is. They're just coming out of turn number 9, as was that a Lamborghini I just saw going possibly straight on? I think I did. That would have been Lunatic Braga, who really needs to get himself into position very quickly. But at least the good thing is with ACC on the formation, if anyone sees cars going through cars, well, effectively you're ghosting. So the drivers, well, Nicolas Pierrat is actually doing the right thing here, waiting for the Lamborghini to get into position, but I'm not too sure what's happened there. Looks like we've had a couple of problems, which includes Lunatic Braga, as Nicolas Pierrat will lead the field coming out of the 11th and final corner here at the Glen in the suburbs of New York. 30 minutes on the timer. So, ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? Are we steady? The third round of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series here in New York gets underway. The green flag waves and Nicolas Pierrat leads the field and is 3 wide going into turn 1. Stuart Pryor to the inside, Karajiak up the inside of Dericourt. Pryor gets the run, keeps the inside line. Dericourt runs wide, as does one of the BMWs, might be Lafurla possibly, as they go through up the hill for the first time through turns 2, 3 and 4 and onto the backstretch on the first run down to the inner loop. But Nicolas Pierrat has a massive lead. Gus and Werner trying to go side by side. That is with Jonathan Schmidt heading into the inner loop. That's one of the things you don't want to do, as Blasher's up the inside, through on the Ferrari, and they tussle, and the Audi's round. The Audi's round already, and that was Gagansky sending it up the inside. Not Blasher, my apologies there, he's in the BMW, and Gagansky's just tackled the plastic barriers as a direct result. So straight away, and we have got problems for Roland Ciclodi and Lunatic Braga. They have ended up in the pit lane as Ursula looks for the move up the inside of Williams, going through into the next right-hander as though they go over the crest. This is, I thought there was going to be a little bit of chaos, but it actually was quite measured. But Gagansky, tried that move on Jonathan Schmidt, and it didn't quite pay off. I mean, it was going to be a case of immovable force versus the unstoppable object.
Yeah, certainly. We didn't have to wait long to see an attempted move into the inner loop. Yes, it is inner loop. Yeah. But we didn't have to wait all that long, and it was a very clean start from everybody, more or less. Everyone sort of got themselves through, and well, Nicholas got the dream start, really. He had nobody challenging him into turn one, had 3 cars fighting amongst themselves behind him, and well, he's got away and he's got the chance to stretch his legs. Gap's 1.4 at the top, and we've got the battle here between, what's this, Williams, Lafurla, Alsalon, and there's a big gaggle of cars all battling for this second lap here.
Yeah, that was Uslan up the inside of Williams. Gustin Werner was looking to get through as well on the number 26 Porsche that's in an old school Porsche sandwich right now as they come through out of turn number 4 down the backstretch. Darren Williams pulling alongside in the number 26, and he's just got through on Uslan, and he gets through before the inner loop, and Williams tangles with the back of Lafurla. It's caused the concertina effect, and back round the outside goes Adrien Uslan to retake 6th position, but straight away Lafurla goes wide. That's going to allow Uslan through. Williams is looking to the outside into the very next corner. The Porsche gets through on the BMW. Incredible stuff. They're giving each other racing respect, but when you make a mistake into a particular part of the circuit, like Williams did just then going through into the inner loop, it's nearly guaranteed that all hell could break loose. But Lafurla drops from 5th to 7th, Uslan up from 7th to 5th, and Williams is still piggy in the middle.
Yeah, it just goes to show how much consistency and focus around this track is going to be king around here. And you know, one driver makes a mistake, it invites everybody through, especially in that little bit. And well, Lafurla in the middle of this battle. He's got Werner behind as well. There's Hewlett and Schmidt as well. They're all sort of going their way through. It's going to be quite the almighty little scrap, I think, between these guys. And well, I may have judged this circuit a little bit wrong when it came to overtaking, but we'll wait and see. We're only in the very early parts of this race.
Yeah, and the tyres might have gotten a little bit of a pasting, but Laurent Lafurla's got Gustin Werner trying to look towards the inside. Turn 1's a very deceptive right-hander, that if you stick your nose up the inside or you run wide like Laurent Lafurla's just done, and Gustin Werner's going to be up the inside. It's going to be side by side with the old school BMW, and Gustin Werner decides to think discretion is the better part of valor, pulls out of the manoeuvre, now tries to get the run. There is Craig Hewlett in the number 33 BMW. He's looking to the inside of Werner on the run down the backstretch into the inner loop, sends it up the inside, gets through. Is he going to straight line the chicane? No, he doesn't. That was brilliantly done by Craig Hewlett up the inside of Gustin Werner in the number 33 old school Porsche. Just behind them is Jonathan Schmidt in the number 777 Ferrari 296, the leading Ferrari in this field as things stand. But also, that was a bit of a clumsy move there coming out of turn 6 through the chute, courtesy of Gustin Werner. That nearly opened the door for Jonathan Schmidt going through into the toe. And Gustin Werner pulls to the right-hand side. Is he going to get the overspeed into the boot? Into the heel of the boot? It's going to be very, very close indeed, but Hewlett gives him enough racing room. That's going to open both barn doors very, very wide and allow Jonathan Schmidt to look towards the outside into the next left-hander, and he tangles with Werner, and Jonathan Schmidt is also around. Oh, dearie me. That was a move that Jonathan Schmidt should not have attempted.
No, it wasn't. There was a battle going on around him, and he really just... I don't think he really had the room in there, and I think he's come off the least affected by it. But well, that'll be one perhaps looked back on by the stewards, perhaps. But here's the further meanwhile. I think he's trying to get a move done on Williams here around the outside of one. That's a great little try around there. They're still side by side off the circuit is the furler at the moment, and he just slots in behind the Porsche at the moment, trying to find another way through as they come through this high speed section in the BMW. He's all over the back, getting in the mirrors, getting in his head at the moment, trying to force a mistake, maybe a little bit of contact there between the two of them as they come down towards the inner loop. Now he's going to try and go around the outside, which will soon become the inside. He breaks early and thinks better of it. I think that was the sensible move.
Yeah, that was definitely the right call from Laurent Lafurla, because the BMW is absolutely mustard on the straights. The Porsche is very, very capable in the twisty stuff as Adam Brown's off the circuit. Oh, dearie me. It was going so well for Adam. He was running in 10th position. Now drops down to what will be more than likely. Well, Szymon Gagański's about to go round past him in the 71 Audi. Well, that puts Adam Brown all the way back down to 14th position behind the recovering Gustin Werner, who's behind Robert Blascher in the number 2 BMW M4 GT3. And that Audi has got a little bit of run of speed. I mean, Adam Brown might have a little bit of damage to the right-hand side of the car, bearing in mind on where the car was located. And that was not exactly what you wanted. It might have been, I think, just off of the inner loop, as Garson Werner looking up the inside of Robert Blascher through into the next left-hander. And Blascher gets the overspeed, runs a little bit wide. Werner's going to get through, and we'll keep it pinned to the outside through into the next left-hander. So Garson Werner makes up another position, and he goes back up to P12. And Nikita Ronin is next on Werner's hit list in terms of positions that he wants to get past. But then there's a big gap between Ronin and Klojowski. That's about 3.6 seconds, as we're about 2.5 minutes away from the pit stop, the mandatory pit stop window being open for 10 minutes. But in the meantime, Nicolas Pierrat leading the way, and it's a comfortable lead, 3.7 seconds after just 4 laps. We're on lap number 5. There is the race leader coming through the outer loop as we speak. Stuart Pryor is actually trying to close in on him, and well, Nicolas Pierrat at this moment, Kelsey, is running in the 1:44.3s. He's not that far off of his qualifying pace.
No, he's not. I think he's really just finding the time out there. He's got all this space to his own. He's got so much track to himself that he's just able to sit in there and focus on the lap times as he keeps going. And I think he'll just get more and more consistent as he goes along and clocks up those laps for as well. And that will help him all along the way, especially with Track Titan clocking them as we go along. And here's Karisiak. He's in a bit of a battle with Deracourt at the moment for P3. He's not too far, he's not too close, but he's within that second, so he might be able to try and put some pressure on, perhaps get close, get in the mirrors and force a mistake. And this is Werner trying to get past Ronin at the moment.
Yeah, that's down the hill into the next left-hander they go. Garson Werner trying to get through. Ronin is going to run a little bit wide. Werner's going to try and do the old switcheroo like he did last time on Robert Blascher, going through the very same corner 1 lap ago. Is all bit of a tank slapper for both Werner and Ronin as they come out of turn number 9 and into the left-hander here at turn 10. Ronin keeps the place. Werner's right on his coattails as they go through into the 11th and final corner. Ronin drifts a little bit wide and he's going to hit the wall, and Werner gets through. That's 11th place for the number 33 Porsche.
Yeah, that wall is really collecting a lot of paintwork from different cars out there, but it's so close to the exit, and you've really got to run out as wide and as close as you can. And well, Ronin hitting the wall, give Werner the free place. He says, thank you very much, I'm going to go head on. He's got some work to do in that Porsche, but car number 33 is well on his way to trying to break back into that top 10. Can he break that 4 seconds or so? Who knows? We've still got pit stops to go yet, which are very close to about 10 seconds or so.
Yeah, pit stop window going to be open very shortly, and we'll find out which strategies the drivers will employ over this 3rd race out of 5, the halfway point of the TSRC rookie season number 2. Pit window is now officially open for just under the next 10 minutes, and it's mandatory for everybody. Anyone that doesn't make a pit stop gets an automatic 130-second post-race penalty as per the settings on the server and through Assetto Corsa Competizione. So for those wondering, where you've got the race numbers in the red boxes immediately to their right-hand side, that's saying who has got, as Laurent Lefebvre has just tagged the wall. Oh, that was coming out of turn number 9. Not exactly what the number 5 BMW wanted. He's the highest place of the BMWs at the moment. There's a big gap between him, as Nicolas Pierrat is the first to pit within the first 45 seconds. So was going on a more than likely a shorter fuel window. Craig Hewlett now goes into the pit lane from 8th position on the circuit, so hopefully we will not see any SG30s like I was talking about a little bit earlier on. But Laurent Lefebvre trying to close in, and that is on Darren Williams, who in turn is not too far behind Adrien Ousselin. Now this is the battle for 4th position on the road. That could significantly change depending on where Nicolas Pierrat. Oh, Garson Werner's just lost the back end through turn 1. Oh, dearie me. That is his race. I'm sorry, but that was a rejoin and a half there. Right into the path, nearly into the path of Adam Brown. He's gone off the circuit again. I think he might have picked up a little bit of damage in the meantime. So whether he's tagged the barrier and it spat him across. Well, here's the replay that we're going to see. Now, this is Garson Werner versus Nicolas Ronin. Nikita Honin going into turn number 10. Well, this is Werner now coming through into the inner loop, now into the outer loop. He's all the way down in 13th position. So our first 2 pit stops have been completed. So Nicolas Pierhat and Craig Hewlett are the first ones to do so. Still got just under 8 minutes of the pit stop window to go. But Garcin Werner, you know, in the race that was the tune-up before this season, did pretty well. He placed in the top 3, but I'll be completely honest with you. You can have a tune-up race, but then if you don't get off on the right foot in the first 2 races of the season, your opportunity of going for a title push can be sort of thrown asunder, can't it?
Yeah, it can. I mean, you know, mistakes that happen early on and bad races, they can really sort of affect your mentality going into the rest of the season. And well, you know, you can have a good
hang on,
what's happened there?
Karziak
yeah, he's off.
Karziak was off, and now he's going to go into the pits. Oh my goodness me, that is... Oh, I'm wondering if those tyres have been inadvertently flat spotted, because if that's the case, 25 seconds as a mandatory fuel stop will actually help him to change the tyres. Oh dearie me. If it wasn't bad enough with Garcin Werner having a problem, as he's now trying to get through on Adam Brown, runs wide coming out of T1, going through into turn 2, then Karasiak has the same problem, but at a different location on the circuit. So the Porsches seem to be really good, but if you just overstep that mark, we found out with 2 drivers tonight that it can go very south very quickly.
Yeah, there's so many places where this track can sort of catch you out. There's a lot of high-raised curbs, and you know, you've really got to use them to make the most of the track, especially through there, as we saw Werner just skipping over those curbs at the moment. But we've already got our first stop go 30. That's Williams in the 26 Porsche, and Schmidt now as well with a stop go 30.
Now, didn't I say about pit stops? Didn't I say about the pit stop, the pit speed limiter being 50 kilometers an hour? Oh dearie me! And that's the beauty about the rookie series, folks, is that you learn from your mistakes. You know, this is an entry-level series, as Stuart Pryor now pits for the race lead, just over 2.9 seconds ahead of Kevin Derocourt, who now inherits said lead. But yeah, 2 stop-go 30s, and it's at one of the circuits on this calendar. You know, after this, we've got Brands Hatch and Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya as Garcin Werner. Oh, steady on the loud pedal there, number 33. I mean, he nearly lost the back end and could have ended up spiralling himself into the wall as Adam Brown is trying to defend, and he goes all 4 wheels. He might have got a track cut for that one, as Garcin Werner is now going to pull into pit lane. That just goes to show how difficult it can be around this circuit. You know, you come out of a 90 right and you've got to instantly turn right to get into that pit lane. So you've got to downshift, turn again and hit the brakes. And you've got to be in first gear to engage that pit speed limiter, because otherwise if you're in second gear, it won't engage.
Yeah, you do. You've really got to time it well, and it's such a tight little entry to the pit lane as well, as you saw. And Schmidt having a little tank slapper out there. We've seen a few of those this evening as we've been going on. But I mean, one saving grace is that this stop go 30 is not being served at Spa. Last week, if you got a stop go 30, you were in the pit lane for an incredibly long time, almost the same amount of time as the penalty is for missing your pit window. So you know, it's just, at least there's that for them. But I think Werner, I think he needs to just take a moment to calm down after those couple of incidents and get his head back, because that's when you make mistakes, is when you're driving in anger or driving out of frustration, because you've really got to push that aside and sort of stay stoic behind the wheel of the car and stay as in focus and in tune with the machine you're driving around the track as possible. And if he could do that, then perhaps he might be able to recover something from this.
Yeah, he could take a leaf out of the book of Nicolas Pierhat, who is consistently running in the 1 minute 45. So last time he did a 1:45.1. So he's making his way through into the final part of the circuit. Kevin Derocourt and Adrien Ousselin now are in pit lane, as Jonathan Schmidt continues to serve his stop go 30. David Williams, he's got to serve that within 3 laps, otherwise that penalty gets a lot more significant, because you can actually get, I think, a stop go. Well, Not too sure. It might be the fact that he might get disqualified from the server. I have seen that happen before. He's currently running in P9 at the moment, so he'll probably have... He might decide to dive into the pit lane on this particular occasion, as the final round of pit stops are happening. Szymon Gagański is the only one yet to pit so far, so Adam Brown, Nikita Ronin, Adrien Ousselin, Darren Williams goes around for another lap, so he's probably just trying to eke that out as much as possible to see how high up the order he finishes after the SG30, as we just have 2 minutes and 42 seconds of the pit stop window to go. Gagański has got a lead ahead of those behind, which will probably be about 8.8 seconds. Oh, dearie me, Kevin Dericourt trying to get through. Now he's in 5th place at the moment. He's battling with, that looks to be Ousselin in front, which is the number 9 car, as Brown is now serving his pit stop. Gagański yet to come in, and at the moment the race leader, just trying to find out where he is out. He is at the moment in the Audi. He's making his way through and towards turn 9, so I think he's really got to pit this lap, because the laps that they're setting, you know, they're like 1:45s. He would be so close to being on the bubble, it would be ridiculous. And he might just miss that pit stop window, because straight away he gets a slam dunk penalty by the system software, and thereby that will mean his opportunity of possibly getting a top 10 finish could be out of reach, as he's now making his way through out of turn number 11. Gagański yet... Oh, he is in the pit lane, so 1 minute, a minute and a half still to go, and Kevin Dericourt still battling away with Adrien Ousselin for what will effectively become P3. Williams is yet to serve his stop go 30s. He's got to do it on the next lap, and there he is coming through. He's behind Laurent Laferle in the number 5 BMW as they come through turn 10, the fast left-hander. So is Williams going to pull in this time into the pit lane? He's slowing, and yes he does. He takes his SG30 on the last lap possible, and we have just a minute to go, and Gagański is in the pits, so the pits will be closing for the pit window itself in just under 60 seconds. Everyone at that point will have at least taken one trip down pit road here at Watkins Glen. There's Kevin Dericourt, and he is trying to close on in on the car in front, which is Adrien Ousselin. This will be more than likely the battle for a possibility of P3, and it will be P3 because Gagański's dropped down to... Oh, and Gagański's got an SG30. He's also got an SG30 as well, so he's going to have to serve that. So Gagański was doing ever so well, was leading the race, gets the stop go 30, has to serve that within 3 laps, as we are 18 seconds away from the pit window closing. So Gagański's going to have to try and do something special to get that Audi back in the top 10, I think.
Yeah, it's a shame, and he would have come out in a really decent position, I think, as well. Probably somewhere around P10, perhaps. I'm not sure if he's out on the track thus far, but, you know, after the start of his race, where he was, you know, in the barriers at the inner loop, he was way down the order, but finding himself in there. And yeah, look, I think he's out in P9, and now that the timing tower looks to have settled. But yeah, it's just going to drop him all the way back down now, and Williams coming out behind Kurisiak after his stop go 30, so he's dropped way down outside of the top 10 as well. But that invites Werner back into the top 10, where he sort of belongs. But we're watching the other 2 Frenchmen out on the track as well, car number 9, car number 62, trying to suss each other out. This is a battle for the last place on the podium between the pair of them, and I think the closest fight on the track.
Yeah, that is the case there, Kelsey. Spot on with that analogy there, as we ride on board with the number 62 of Kevin Dericourt from Old School Racing up through turn number 2. Now the steep incline going up the hill through the left-hander here at turn 3. Be very close to the wall, but not too close. You don't want to hit the curbing on the inside and clatter into the barriers on the right-hand side, because you'll pinball over to the other side of the back stretch as they accelerate at full speed. And then down a couple of gears, lift off the throttle onto the brakes ever so slightly through the inner loop. Now into turn 5 at the outer loop, before they start descending down the circuit once again. Adverse right-hand camber as Ousselin runs a little bit wide, and oh no, that's Pierre. That's Pierre who was leading the race, and now it's in the hands of Stuart Pryor. I think Stuart Pryor has now got the race lead in the Aston Martin. He has. What on earth has happened with the number 69? He dropped the ball. He was on for two out of three.
One moment of complacency, that is all it takes. You let that come in, it slips, and that's it. You can stay as consistent as you like, but if that happens at any point, you drop the ball, then somebody else is going to pick it up. And well, I think he may have the pace to try and go, but I don't know. Well, it's not going to matter too much about the pace. Does he have the time? We've just hit underneath 8 minutes, and here's Karisiak trying to make a move on Blucker as well, coming through the outer loop. Not really going to have much say through there as well, but we've got a few battles erupting now. It looks to the inside. There's the Porsche, thinks better of it as Blucker closes the door, coming through there. But this is a good little scrap going on into the inside again. They're going to go side by side now as they go, and late as he dares, but that was clean as you like. Only a little bit of paper between them perhaps, but a great move from the Porsche.
I think Karasiak actually sent that from the suburbs of Hoboken, New Jersey, here to Watkins Glen. The way he did a Danny Rick on that one, just lick the stamp and send it. That was textbook from the 313. Also coming back to Nicolas Pierrat, his gap between himself and Pryor is around about 3.8 seconds. So there is an opportunity for the Frenchman to close up. We've got 7 minutes on the timer to conclude round number 3, the midway point of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series Season number 2, brought to you in association with TrackTitan.io. As they come out of the final corner, Karajiak has already gotten away from Blasher and has pulled away to the tune of 1.6 seconds, so gapped him by a second. There is Stuart Pryor, and in the background, that's coming out of the outer loop. There is Nicolas Pierrat, but Stuart Pryor must be counting his lucky stars right about now, because an Aston Martin with V8 power under the front bonnet is leading the way here at round 3. And to think of it this way, with 6 1/4 minutes to go, it's about what Pierrat does now, because with the laps we'll probably have, I'd say probably 4 laps, including this one that we're just about to start. So we are completing lap number 13. Stuart Pryor leads the way in the number 63 RSM Esports Aston Martin, and he puts in a 1 minute 46.6. Nicolas Pierrat has got the gap down to 3.4, 1 minute 46.282. And it's Kevin Deharcourt, Adrien Ousselin and Laurent Laferle who round out the top 5. Craig Hewlett in 6th. And we've got Tomasz Kozlowski rounding out the top 7. So an Aston Martin, 3 Porsches and 3 BMWs. Nikita Ronan has made his way up to 8th position ahead of Gosselin Werner, with Adam Brown in the 2nd of the 2 Aston Martins on this field, completing the top 10. Then it's Karajiak, Blasher, Williams, Schmidt, Gagansky, Braga and Ciclodi did join the race, but they're currently down in 16th and 17th position. It's what could have been for the number 48 from Austria. Lunatic Braga qualified on the front row alongside Nicolas Pierrat, but unfortunately an issue at the start of the race, more than likely a server disconnect I would have thought, has put the Austrian down in 16th position. He will still score points, but there is a lot of work that the number 48 has got to do. Oh, there's Adrien Ousselin. Ousselin is beached on the curbing in the number 9, and he's reversed it and got it back going again. It's dropped him out of what was P3. I'm not too sure if there might have been an incident between himself and Kevin Deharcourt, because they were very, very close indeed. The gap between them was quite insignificant, and there is Craig Hewlett up the inside, so we're going to see a replay here. Oh, this is Gagansky in front of him. And Adrien Ousselin has a bit of a moment, and then just a few seconds later he was beached on the curbing, so he's now dropped to 6th place. Ousselin's run of bad luck continues as we got just 4 minutes to go on the timer. There is Nicolas Pierrat, and he's got that gap down to 2.9 seconds. Last lap around, he was over half a second quicker than Stuart Pryor, who's making his way through turn 4 at the top of the hill and onto the back straightaway. It's about what Pierrat does now in the next 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So we're on to lap number 15. I think, well, we're going to hit a total of 17 laps once the timer has expired, but it's Pierrat's opportunity to go for broke right here, Kelsey.
Yeah, it is. He's just got to get his head down. He's got to push as much as he can. And here's Krzyzak again at the moment. But back to the fight at the front. He's just got to get himself back to that operating window, back to putting in the lap times to try and catch Pryor. And Pryor, well, he's got to not buckle to Nicolasi, maybe the fastest out there, but Pryor's got the position on him for the time being. So we got a nice little scrap in the dying moments of this race at the moment. We were spot on with our predictions of the cars at our best, as Krzyzak just about keeps it out of the wall through turn one. That was some great car control to keep the car from smacking into barrier out there, but we were spot on with which cars were going to be the best around here. It's Aston Martin versus Porsche at the top.
Yeah, also Uslat is in the pits. The number 9 was running in 9th position. Now this battle here between Brown and Krzyzak is now for 9th position. And just keeping my keen eye on what is going on between 1st and 2nd. As Nikita Ronin, that is with Garçonnet Werner. Werner towards the outside into the left-hander. That will be, as they've got one of the BMWs ahead, that's Kozlowski, I believe. Well, that front end of that BMW has been significantly rearranged a little bit, judging by the livery. As Garçonnet Werner up the inside, he sends it. That was Kozlowski that they've just got through. Ronin gets passed by Garçonnet Werner, who's now back up into 6th position as we're heading into the final 2 minutes. So it's this plus one more additional lap. We're on lap number 16 out of 17 here at Watkins Glen, and the fights are plentiful here in the suburbs of just south of New York. But Nikita Ronin in the Ferrari 488, the best of the Ferraris here today at Watkins Glen for this midway point of the season. He's currently sitting in what will now be 7th position, because Garçonnet Werner is just up ahead. The gap between them is about half a second. But our leaders are coming through the toe of the boot, turn 7, for what will be the penultimate time, because the next time they cross the start-finish line, it will be one more lap to go. Nikita Ronin really pressurising Garçonnet Werner through the exit of turn number 4, down onto the backstretch for what will be the penultimate time. Ronin to the outside, heading into the inner loop. Is he going to get the overspeed? He's starting to get some, but it's going to be Garçonnet Werner that's going to keep 6th position going into the inner loop. Is he going to keep it nice and stable? They both do, through the inner loop and into the right-hander here at turn 5, as our leaders are coming through turn 10 for the penultimate time. Nikita Ronin coming out of the outer loop and heading into the chute at turn 6. Keeps it a little bit wider than Garçonnet Werner, as Stuart Pryor now leads us on to what will be the final lap. Lap 17 out of 17 underway. The gap between him and Nicolas Pierre has really stabilised this 2.8 seconds, with Dericourt in 3rd place, 11.5 seconds plus change behind this man here. Stuart Pryor has kept his head cool, whilst everyone else, Kelsey, has been losing theirs.
Yeah, he has. He's just kept it consistent as he can. He was in 2nd from the start, really, after Braga had his issues at the moment. But it's just occupational hazard when it's virtual racing at the moment. But well, Pryor, almost you could say he was gifted it, but he's the one who's been able to keep it on the track, keep the car going in a straight line, and well, that's often the way. Slow and steady wins the race, as they say. And well, Pryor is only a few more corners away from taking that Aston Martin to victory at the moment. And we've had an incredible race around here, and there's been lots of action going on. And Stuart Pryor, well, only a few more corners, and it's his for the taking.
Out of turn 7, the toe of the boot for the final time. It's the number 63. So far at Misano, it was Lamborghini that took the top honours. Porsche last time, and now it's Gaydon's finest, the Aston Martin V8 Vantage GT3 of RPM Esports. Stuart Pryor makes his way through turn number 9. Now the run down to turn 10. Who would have thought of this one in the Hollywood script tonight here in the United States at the Glen? As through turn number 11, it's 3 different winners from 3 different races. And congratulations, Stuart Pryor in the number 63 Aston Martin wins here at the Glen. And it makes something very, very special heading into Brands Hatch in the Garden of England next week. Nicolas Pierre it was close to being 2 in a row. He's having to settle for second position. Third, it's going to be Kevin Deharcourt. And here is the top place BMW in the field. Lauren Lafella in the number 5 BMW M4. Jonathan Schmidt, the 296 Ferrari driver in the 777, will finish 13th. Roland Ciclotti in 17th. Great job by Craig Hewlett, including some dynamite overtaking. The number 4, I would call that either purple or fuchsia-coloured BMW M4. As he comes out of the final corner, it's going to be a great way to end his evening. A top 5 finish ahead of Garcene Werner, with Nikita Ronin rounding out the top 7 positions. So some great racing there. There's Adam Brown. He's going to be finishing behind Tomasz Kozlowski in the number 13 BMW. Adam Brown had his fair share of trials and tribulations. Was off the circuit a couple of times during the race, but he's going to bring it round the final corner to finish behind Kozlowski in 9th position. Magic Garziak in the number 313, the Red 5 Racing Porsche 992 will come across the line just ahead of David Williams. Adrien Ousselin finishes in 12th ahead of Lunatic Braga and Szymon Gagansky, who's not too far behind. There he is, just making his way through into turn number 9. And that Audi, that is definitely needing some body shop attention post-race with the front of that clamshell as the smoke flares are being set off here at Watkins Glen. He runs off the circuit, oh dear, and tangles with the wall. That's going to point the car in the right direction as he hammers the throttle, takes 4 wheels onto the grass, bumps over it, and he's going to take the checkered in 13th position. But what on earth happened there? I mean, it just goes to show, in this rookie series, Kelsey, anything can happen, can't it?
It certainly can, and it's been wow, it's been quite the race, and I'll let you run through the finishing order as they stand.
Well, that's it. 3 different winners from 3 different races here on Season 2 of the Sim Racing Collective Rookie Series at the Glen in the United States, just outside of New York. It's Stuart Pryor that takes the win by just under 2 seconds, with Nicolas Pierrat having technical problems of some description to put him down in 2nd place. Kevin Deharcourt, Lauren Lafella and Craig Hewlett round out the top 5. Garcene Werner, a little bit of trials and tribulations, but managed to come flying back through the order to finish 6th ahead of Nikita Ronin. Tomasz Kozlowski rounding out the top 8 ahead of Adam Brown, and Magic Karasiak rounding out the top 10. Then it was Williams, Blascher, Schmidt, Usla, who also had dramas of his own, Braga, Giganski and Ciclotti bringing up the rear of the field. And that is the conclusion of the racing action here on officially the JP Broadcasting channel. A big thank you to you all for watching. Kelsey, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the commentary box. Final thoughts before we close off tonight's broadcast.
Yeah, it was a great little race around here. I thoroughly enjoyed a lot of it. I think Nicholas, you know, he may have had the dream start, but he sort of dropped the ball, and there's some great little fights through. Werner recovered really well, and there's a lot of good things, and it's going to really shake up the championship going forward. I think Nicholas will take the lead, and Stuart Pryor may find himself elevated and among the mix as well, but it's going to make it all that closer. And well, with only a few more rounds left to go, you guys seem to be in for quite the treat as far as the championship goes.
2 more rounds will remain. Next week, we head to the Garden of England, to West Kingsdown, more specifically to Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit on the 14th of June, before the season finale sends us over to Barcelona on the 21st of June. 3 different winners from 3 different races. Big thank you to Kieran behind the scenes for the broadcast tonight. Big thank you to my co-commentator, Kelsey Gill. This has been a JP Broadcasting production. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, signing off until next week. See you next time, and have a good one.